welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be an interesting story that I am going to tell you. Very interesting and weird and probably unique. So this is the time that I and my sister both fell from the Ferris wheel. So at this point, my dad was going to perform in this place at Los Ramones, Nuevo León. It was like mid-October. So my sister and I were like walking around with like aunts, my uncle, my cousins, and a bunch of other like friends of ours over there, whatever. And we're just walking around being normal, like getting on rides, anything regular kids/teenagers would do. So at this point, me and my sister looked at each other as we saw the Ferris wheel. We were like, oh my god, we should totally go on it. Because me and my sister, we are usually riding a lot of rides. Like, it don't matter where we are or anything. If there's a ride, we're probably going to ride on it. So I was like, oh, we should totally get on it. She's like, oh yeah, I'm down, like whatever. And then like we told my aunt, I was like, we're gonna go get on the Ferris wheel, so meet you here after it. And she was like, yeah, whatever, like, we're gonna take the kids and whatever. So they ended up going with us too. And before we even walked towards the Ferris, like where the Ferris wheel was, my cousin, let's call him Andrew, my cousin Andrew, he was screaming like, Cindy, do not go on, like do not go on, like listen to me, don't go on, like something could happen, like something's gonna happen, like listen to me, like don't go on. And he went on and on for like about a good 2 minutes. I was like from the walk, so he went on and on, like don't get on and don't get on, don't get on. And I was like, dude, you're going crazy, Andrew, like we always come up, we always ride it, like we're fine, nothing has happened to us or whatever. And he was like, you know what, fine, whatever, but something happens to you, like I told you, I warned you. And we're like, okay, whatever, just look at him and be like, okay, cuckoo. Little cuckoo in the head, son. So me and my sister go on, and we are like midways, and we hear our dad's intro CD playing. We're like, oh my god, like we just like chill. We're like, oh my god, he's like about to go on, and we're not there. Like it feels like kind of rude in a way. So we just look at each other. We're like, okay, after this, like we have to go run over there. And we're like, okay, whatever. So the girls behind us that were like, we started slowly moving up, and the girls behind us were like singing the songs for my dad's intro CD. So we were like, girl, like, this band? Like, like we always act like we don't really know who they are. And they're like, oh my god, yeah, like they were talking about this special song. And I don't know something about her boyfriend, I don't know, who cares. And we were like, oh cool, yeah, like we know that song, like we kinda like the song too, whatever. So at this point we were discussing my dad's music, like we were just like talking about our favorite songs, like whatever. And at this point my dad's actually starting to go play. Like we actually had like a visual of him walking up stage with like his band members, and we were like, oh my god, like, we need to get on and get off. And my sister leaned forward to like get a better look, I guess, to like see who was like next to my dad, because there's a lot of people standing on the sides. And he was like, oh, like she was just like, wonder who's there, And at this point her mistake happened. So as she leaned forward, the little, I guess, like little chain that I had like holding us literally bursted. Like it bursted. And I mean, my sister was skinny, like pencil skinny at the time. And that thing just like broke. It just ripped. And she was hanging from like the little cliff, like little bottom thing where your feet go. She was just hanging from there. And I was like, oh my god, like are you okay? Like what's going on? Like how did this happen? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, dude, like we're gonna actually die. So I grabbed her hand, being the good little sister, good older sister, sorry, not little, being the sister. And I grabbed her hand and I tried to put her back, and I didn't have enough strength for this. So this is where my brain went, bing, a little light bulb. And I grabbed myself from the back and like tried to push her, like to get a grip of it. That was my mistake. So as I grabbed the bag and tried pulling her up, I caused friction and like turned it around. So we both ended up falling. Seconds later, without even me realizing seconds had passed, my little sister was like on the other side, and she fell on top of this little kids train station type of ride that goes around and around. And she just like landed and then like scratched her whole face. And like she was bleeding, and I didn't even know where she was. I somehow landed standing up. How? I do not know. I didn't break anything. I didn't know. So I landed standing up, but the other little basket that came up slapped me from my butt and literally threw me down. And I was like, okay, like round one wasn't enough, you know, like. So I ended up breaking. Well, at this time I didn't know I was broke, but I was like, my whole body was scratched on my right side, and I had felt like pain, like constant, like pain, like super bad. And then my aunt came towards me. She was really skinny. My aunt was really skinny at this time, and I was not skinny, say the least. So I was like leaning on her, and I was like, oh my god, like I'm gonna freaking die. Like my whole body feels like so numb. Where's my sister? And I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna die. And then at this time, she was like, yo, you need to get up. Like, your sister, we can't find her. Like, I don't know who has her. Like, someone took her. And I'm like, what do you mean someone took her? She's like, yeah, someone took her. Like, oh my god, we need to get out, right? So as we were walking looking for my sister, this man, he's like, oh my god, you're like whatever, you're related to her, whatever. And we're like, yeah, she's my sister. And I just saw her bleeding. Like, this side was bleeding. Like, her mouth was bleeding. And then I was like, oh my god, like, what happened to her? So at this point, like, ambulances came, whatever. So the guy that was controlling the Ferris wheel, as we fell down, this man took off running. And he just took off running. And I was like, what? Like, I didn't find this until, I didn't find out until, like, later. Like, maybe later the next day. And the ambulance is like, oh, we're going to take your daughter. So my dad at this point rushes off the stage, comes to us, and so there's two other people that are always with him, like, they're really family friends, like, I love them to death, and they came rushing with my mom, and then my mom at this point had my brothers, the twins, and they were newborns, they were, like, tiny, they had, like, oh my god, so they were super tiny, so my grandma ended up staying with them, with no car keys, no access to milk, no anything. It was night. Everything was closed. So my grandma stays at the event with the twins and my dad's friends. And my dad, my mom, me and my sister take off. Like, me, my sister, and my mom were in the ambulance on the back. Again, our worst ambulance could not happen. So in the ambulance, there was nowhere to, like, actually be safe. There was a bed, literally laying there, just a bed. And me, my sister, and my mom were, like, cluttered in one corner. And, like, we were bleeding out. We were, like, literally bleeding. Like, not bleeding out, like, oh, I'm gonna die. But, like, just bleeding. They didn't do anything. They didn't even check us if we were broken, if we were, like, something was wrong with us. They're just like, oh, yeah, help out. We gotta take it to the hospital. I was like, okay. Okay. So, we arrived to a house. Not a hospital, to a house. And this house was a doctor's house. So that I guess the doctor was there or whatever. So we literally got there and he said, oh, honey, to his wife. He's like, honey, bring them a little like tea with like what, like just like honey and like sugar so they could calm down. I was like, what kind of witchcraft are you doing? Can you see we're in pain? I'm crying. Like, at this point, I'm crying. Like, at this point, I thought I was gonna die. So I was crying. My sister wasn't because she's really brave. I don't know how she does that. But I was crying. And she's like, oh no, hon. Like, she tells her husband, she's like, no, hon, like, they're injured, like, take them to the hospital. So at this point, we drove back to the hospital. And I got to the hospital. And they just said, oh yeah, your wrist is broken. I was like, you just looked at me. They're like, yeah, your wrist is broken. And they literally just popped it in place. I was like, at least count to 3, sweetie. I was like, okay. And they started like putting like the little cast on me right there and then. Like, I was seeing them and I was just like, okay. And they just checked for like internal bleeding, whatever, and everything was fine. My sister, on the other hand, they got her in, they checked her lip, and she was like cut like from, like, let's say here, inside out. So she needed stitches, so they literally stitched her up. I think it was 12 to 16 stitches, I'm not sure. And we were all good. And the next day, we had school. Because it was October. We were in elementary. Okay. So we went and whatever. And, oh, I'm lying. I didn't go to school the next day because we were still in Mexico. The next day, which was like around a Thursday, I think. or Thursday or a Tuesday, one of those 2 days. So we went to school, they're like, oh my god, what happened to you? Like, you're wearing a cast. And at this point, people would really, really, like, didn't believe us. Like, we would tell them, like, we would answer with the truth, right? We're like, oh, we fell down from, like, a Ferris wheel. And they're like, okay, what kind of book are you reading? What kind of movie did you just watch? Because that's not true, you'll be dead. And we're like, no, we literally just fell from the Ferris wheel. It was like, no big deal. Like, girl. And nobody believed us. So my teacher at the time, not gonna mention her name, let's call her Miss Frizzy. Why not? So I told Miss Frizzy, she was like, what actually happened to you? And I was like, I am talking to you. I fell from a Ferris wheel in one of my dad's like events. And she's like, can you stay after class? I was like, okay, like, am I in trouble for breaking something? So I stayed after class. And she decides to call up my mom. And I was like, you know, why? And she comes home, she's like, your daughter is like being illusional. She's creating this type of story that didn't happen. She's telling everyone that she fell down from the Ferris wheel. That's how she broke her arm. Blah, 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 blah. And I was like, okay, I'll be right there. Because at this point, I had already missed the bus to my house. So she had to call my mom either way, right? So my mom gets in. She's like, what seems to be the problem, right? Like, just nice tone. Really, my mom's a really nice lady. Some may say. And she's like, oh, yeah, your daughter just, like, coming up with stories that she fell from the Ferris wheel. And, like, she just broke her wrist and whatever. My mom's like, she's not making up the story. This actually happened to her. So the next day, everyone in class, like, was still on it. Like, oh, like, she made it up. She's, like, a liar. She's, like, making up a story, whatever. So at this point, my teacher decides to sit everyone down and tell them that she spoke to my mom. This is how it happened. And it was the truth. So from that day on, God, I really wish my mom would have never been involved. Nothing has ever been cleared. I wish it would have been like, oh, she lied about it, you know? So ever since the teacher said that she talked to my mom, I was zombie girl to most people that went to my school. Thank you guys for staying to the very end of this video. And yes, it was a crazy story, I know. Believe me. I was saying it and replaying in my head. But yeah, make sure to subscribe, leave a like. And if you want, not being demanding, you could follow me on Instagram.